right, this is from a couple weeks ago on June 1st. This is the state championship road race over in Waverly, Washington, which is near Spokane. And if you read the titles, this is a mixed field. I don't even remember all of them. 50 plus masters men category 1, 2, 3. Masters men 40 plus category 4, 5. Men's category 4, 5. Women's P1, 2, 3, women's Cat 3, women's Master 40 plus 1, 2, 3. So we're all racing together. That being said, I think at most there were 4 women total in the field, maybe 5. And the whole field itself was probably close to 50 riders, something along that line. So it wasn't nearly as bad as it might seem given all those different categories. That being said, it did make for an interesting race in terms of strategy. I had 2 teammates that were racing in this race with me, but they were both in different categories. So I had John Martin, who was in the category 4-5, and also had what else do we have? We had Stephen Crane racing in the Masters Men 40 plus category 4-5. Early in the race, there was a break of 3 guys, one of them being Stephen Crane, and the guy that's still up off the road, we don't know which category he's in, and one other rider. So for most of the first half of the race, or actually, yeah, a little more than first half of the race, I just kind of was able to sit in the pack and not actually do any chasing. Although we're scored separately, I wasn't going to chase down a teammate who was potentially going for a state championship. So since Steven was up there, I got to kind of just float around in the pack and wait. We ended up catching Steven and one of the other guys with, I don't know, probably quarter of the race left, something along those lines. This race itself was about 61 miles, had about 2,000 feet of climbing. It's a circuit race. It's about 30 miles, a little over 30 miles per lap. And the finish, if you look on the bottom, you can kind of see that elevation map. The finish is kind of a short, sharp hill at about 3 kilometers. Then it kind of levels out, goes down a little bit, and then kind of a false flat for the finish. So pretty fun race. Loved the course. Actually, the weather turned out to be perfect. Didn't have to worry about a sunburn. Didn't have to worry about the cold. It was perfect temperature. This is actually the first time I've done this race where the temperature was decent. I did it 2 years ago. It was probably 47 degrees and raining, and then I did it last year and it had to be in the low to mid 90s and it was burning hot. Both times I did horribly. Came in last in my category last year, just completely cramped up. Went across the finish line. I couldn't even get off my bike because my entire body was cramping. But today is much better. Anyway, we don't have much more of this race. There's about 15 minutes left. We're kind of heading in towards the town of Waverly, and we've got another climb coming up, another few climbs. Nothing too significant in terms of elevation gain, but enough to kind of wear some people out. Right now, I am, for some reason, sitting at the front of the pack. Again, not really pushing it, but no one seems to want to come by me. As I mentioned, nobody wanted to chase that guy because every category thought he was in somebody else's category, and so they didn't want to be the ones doing the work to chase him, which turns out to be great for him because he ended up winning his category, which ended up being the category 4-5, and he did it on a solo break, which was pretty awesome. I don't remember the guy's name. Let me check real quick, see if I can find that. Give him some credit. Matthew Handwork. Matthew Handwork was the guy that won the 4-5 race. Solo break. Well, it was a break of 3, but then he ended up going solo. Really cool. All right, so we're going up one of the last hills here. And if you can see, well, I'll wait till he gets into frame. Right to my left in the red jersey, that is a Mercedes rider. And that is, let's see, what do we have there? Oh, that was Andrew Shirley of Mercedes-Benz. So anyway, and then right there to my left was my teammate John Martin, and then we've got some ODZ riders in front of me. I'm falling a little behind here, so I decided I needed to kind of make sure that gap didn't get too big. So I'm feeling pretty good in this race, and feel like I've got a lot of energy, but I really don't know how the finish is going to play out, because that final hill could be more than I can normally handle. I think of myself more as a sprinter, but I can climb a little bit, so I'm thinking that might get rid of the pure sprinters. And right there to my left now, we got my old teammate, that's Joe, and he is rolling along there, so I thought I'd kind of tuck in behind him a little bit. Got the downhill. And there's Andrew Shirley again. The main person to watch out for in this race is Steve Hansen. He's in the 50 plus, and he has won the state championship last 2 years in a row. He also won the 50 plus overall at Tour de Bloom. Basically, he pretty much wins every race that he enters in the 50 plus. So he is the person I was trying to keep an eye on. I'll point him out when I roll up on him, or I think I come up on him pretty soon. Steve Hansen is off to the right there towards the front. He's kind of in front of this guy in the light gray kit. And on the back of his bibs it says, "Ride fast, don't die," I believe is what it says. There he is, right there in the center, in front of this guy. So he's the one that you want to watch out for. Earlier I said the guy in the red jersey was Andrew Shirley of Mercedes, but to be honest, I think there might have been another Mercedes guy in the pack in a different category. So I don't know if that was actually him, but he's in the race. So. Alright, now we're headed on into Waverly on a downhill. And then we just kind of cross through the little town, and then we hit the climb at 3 kilometers. I definitely do not like racing in these combined fields. Again, it just really messes with the strategy, but I completely understand from a promoter standpoint. There's not enough volunteers, and oftentimes out here there aren't enough racers to justify having separate races for each different category. I mean, for example, the women's field was, some of the categories were 1 or 2 people. There's no way you could have enough volunteers to have a follow car and a lead car and all the other logistics that go into that. So I understand where they're coming from. It's just unfortunate that this is how it has to be in amateur racing. So here we're coming into pretty close to 3 kilometers. Yep, there it is, 3 kilometers, and it's kind of the base of the hill. It starts in just a few seconds. So I wanted to make sure that, again, I had my eye on Steve Hansen in the front of the field and just see if I could stay up there, make sure that I didn't fall back too far. And Steve is the person that's at the front of the race right now. I don't know if you can see him. He's off to the right. But this kid goes off. This is a category 4 or 5 kid. His name's Bear Lopez, and he starts lighting up the climb. I'm falling back a little bit. I had ridden this prior to the race just to kind of get a sense of it. So I wasn't too concerned. I figured I'd be able to catch back on. I didn't want to go too hard from the gun and then blow myself up. So I decided that I would just kind of take it at my own pace and slowly ramp it up. So I got a bit of a gap, and right here I was thinking, I've got to make it up to this group. Which I do. And to be honest, I was using a friend at Joel Brazil's race as motivation. He had just completed the Unbound XL, that's the 350-mile gravel course. And he's a year older than me, and he ended up getting 7th overall. So I thought, my God, if he can do that, I can stay with these guys. So I've got a decent bit of separation from the rest of the field right now. And then we get a little bit more here. Got 2 guys off the front. I mean, there's still the guy off the front, way off the front, but there's 2 guys up there that are pushing the pace. So I tag along. Have Bear and this ODZ guy kind of tow us up. And so right now, I think there's a pack of about 7 of us. Right here on my left is Ken Collins from Inland Empire. He's in the 50-plus field. So as far as I can tell, there's Ken, myself, and Steve in the 50 plus field. I think there are a couple guys behind us too. So at this point, we've got 1 kilometer left, and everybody's kind of waiting on Steve. He's the one that's in the lead right now. Everybody knows how strong he is. I don't think anybody really wanted to pass until we were a little bit closer, or try at least. Unfortunately, he's got a really good sprint too, so there's not much you can do about it. And then off to the left, Doug Carlton from Keller Rohrbeck goes on a flyer, so that allows us to pick it up. And there's Andrew Shirley right there. Okay, there's only 200 meters left. And so I ended up getting third behind Steve Hansen and Ken Collins in the 50 plus. So that is it. It was a fun race despite the mixed field, and I loved the course, and I really loved that finish. That was a very fun finish.